Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. I have made my feelings crystal clear that I think it is time for LeBron to move on to another franchise. I have made my feelings crystal clear. I'm a Kobe fan, which makes me a Laker fan by default. Supported the Lakers for over 15 years. And I was supporting them. And then the minute they got LeBron James, I'm like, I'm out. And I wasn't the only one. A lot of Laker fans basically revolted against the Lakers when they got LeBron. It got so bad that Kobe essentially had to put out a public statement to the fan base and be like, yo, he good. Let's give him a pass. And that's what happened. LeBron first got to LA thinking that I'm LeBron, and the fan base was looking at him like, and so what? And we just, the dude that just retired got us 5 championships. We already used to stars and the bright lights. We've had Kobe, we had Shaq, we had Kareem, we had Magic, we had Wilt. Like, yo, bro, you LeBron, and what can I do for you? All right? And that seemed to be a shock to LeBron's system. Definitely a shock to his fan base. Like, wait, they don't want to twerk for us? I'm lost. Everywhere we go, they twerk. And then LeBron fans were saying, oh, you know, what were the Lakers before LeBron got there? The Lakers were the most popular franchise in the NBA. The biggest draw in the NBA. They had 16 championship trophies. That's who they were. Now, they've had a dry spell, as all organizations do, but that doesn't change the status of the Lakers. So who they are, the question is, who have they been since he got there? That's the larger question, right? But I said it's time for LeBron to move on. Like, some of us Laker fans that are in recess, like, it's enough. Go somewhere else. And some of his supporters have already been coming up with new locations and new teams for him to go destroy. Some people are saying, let him go to Dallas. Let him go destroy the Dallas Maverick. Let him go to Cleveland. Let him go screw that up too, right? Let him go ride the coattails of Donovan Mitchell to another championship. Right? And his crazy ass supporters will then stand up at the end of it and say, hey man, look, he to go. Meanwhile, they carrying him on his back like a hitchhiker. Not even on his back. LeBron is like the freaking the kangaroo baby that they got in the pouch. That's how they're gonna be carrying him if he goes to Cleveland. But nevertheless, right? Nevertheless, that's what they want to do. And it seems like I'm not the only one that feels this way, that the Lakers need to move on from LeBron James. NBA legend, Boston Celtic great, Paul Pierce believes it is time for the Lakers to finally move on from LeBron James and focus on Luka Doncic. For those of you who didn't hear what Paul had to say, I want to play for you now, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Paul Pierce here.
You can't trade LeBron.
You cannot?
You're not going to get... LeBron has an option for a $52 million contract
56.
this year. I think it's 52, but...
This is what needs to happen.
In any case, it's
if
50
the Lakers
plus.
want to get back in championship contender moving forward, you have to get out of the constraints of the LeBron era. You have to they have to find a way to just like, all right, he's had a grasp of this Laker. He just had a grasp of the whole organization, bear hugging him for so long now. He's done some wonderful things for the Lakers organization.
No question. We won a
100%.
championship. Yeah.
They're probably going to build a statue of LeBron in front of the crypto or the Staples, whatever y'all call it, the Forum, you know.
Joe ain't going to look at me.
But I'm just saying, they have to say, Von, we appreciate your services. I think we should move on.
Tough conversation.
Yep. It's time for the Luka era now, because I don't know if you can play them together moving forward, because you have to have a certain type of team around Luka to win. And with him with LeBron, you won't be able to create that, because they're still going to kind of be like just...
So LeBron retires?
I don't know if it's retire, but...
Rick,
LeBron,
you don't think we can move him?
You can't... No. First of all, I don't think he wants to go play someplace else. I don't think he wants to move.
Okay.
And for $52 million, like making... Look, here's the reality, and this is to Paul's point. He's not a $52 million player anymore. Maybe from a box office standpoint, but not as far as on the floor. And you've got, like, Luka, Rui, Dorian Finney-Smith, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent. They're all extension eligible. Like, you have a ton of guys on this team. Jackson Hayes, Alex Len, you're out the door, right? You've got to find your Daniel Gafford and your Derek Lively for Luka, right? You've got to find your PJ Washington, which may be Rui Hachimura as a close comparison. You need to find your Kyrie Irving. You need to find your second scorer. And the problem is, and this is why, Paul is saying you got to move on from LeBron, is essentially it's not faulting LeBron for where they are.
No.
It's that his shadow is so big
Over the organization.
that there's no way that you can still have him there and think that he's going to play like a role, or you can move him to the side. He just takes up all the oxygen in the room.
Even if we found that second guy, he couldn't be pushed down to the third. So he's just a progress stopper at this point.
His presence has been so large for so long.
I understand.
I think it's a challenge to turn this over and say, and here's the thing, by moving LeBron, you now put the pressure on Luka to be everything that you need him to be. He's now, look, Luka, you're the guy now, which means we need you to be in shape. We need you to be a two-way player. We need you to, we're
he
making
is what he is
you.
as far as the two-way thing go.
This is the ideal scenario.
I don't give up on anybody.
Find a way for LeBron to opt out. Wherever Bron go, you got to take Bronny. They find a way to get to Cleveland for his farewell tour in Cleveland. I think that'll be a storybook right there.
He's going to have to opt out of his contract.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Opt
Why would
out.
he take his
Cleveland
son?
can
What you
sign him
mean?
this off summer. Bring in Bronny with him. He announced this is my last year. Cleveland's going to be really good still next year.
Yeah, but his
know if
son
Cleveland wants to do
want to
that.
blaze his own trail. He don't need to be running around with his daddy. He's trying to get his
This is the
own
last
money.
year.
Wait a
One
minute,
more
what?
year.
Bronny's not blazing his own trail.
He's trying to, as I'm saying.
Bronny's not blazing
I'm
his
just
own
saying, if he
trail.
want to do his own thing, you don't want to keep bouncing around with his father.
It's going to get really interesting, though.
So you heard what Paul Pierce had to say. I want to refer to some comments that LeBron made yesterday. And he made these comments, I'm just going to quickly paraphrase, when he was talking about the, potentially recruiting Luka. And he said, I'm 40 years old. Luka Doncic is 26. So he can't be basing his future off of me. He needs to essentially do what's right for him. And as LeBron said that, I said to myself, Rob Pelinka, are you hearing what he just said? He's saying Luka shouldn't base his future off of a 40-year-old player. So the question is then, why would the Lakers do that? Why would the Lakers go in on building a team that's conducive for a 40-year-old player? Like, okay, let's be for real here. Let us be for real. If the Lakers built this team that a lot of some fans are out there fantasizing about, let's be for real. They're going to come back next year and beat who? Who they going to beat? Who they going to be better than? Are they going to be better than the Nuggets? No. Because look at the dog fight that the Clippers in right now. You think the Lakers would have been in a dog fight, but they would have wiped the floor with them. This Nuggets team would have wiped the floor with the Lakers. They would have wiped the floor with them. Right? You think they're going to be better than the Nuggets? You think they're going to be better than the Timberwolves? Who's just going to get better because now they have more experience? You think they're going to be better than Oklahoma City Thunder? Hell, you may even throw in the Clippers. You think they're going to be better than the Clippers? Like, let's be for real here. Let's be for real. So they're not going to be better. And then I'm looking at them. I'm like, y'all expecting some? All we need is a 7-foot man. No, it don't matter. It don't matter. Last year you had AD who was damn near 7 feet. You still lost. You still lost. It don't matter. The point is they need to move on. He's too old. Move on from him. He's done enough damage to the Lakers brand. Let me tell y'all something. The supposed Laker fans, look, there's a LeBron fans don't like the Lakers. As a matter of fact, they can't stand the Lakers. And let me tell you one of the reasons why they can't stand his fan base right now. They can't stand his fan base because, number one, they're giving Luka Doncic more love than LeBron. And they feel like Luka doesn't deserve the love from the fan base, or at least as much or even more love from the fan base as LeBron James. So that's one reason they hate the fan base, because they don't recognize LeBron's greatness. Another reason they don't like the fan base is because they like Austin Reeves. Right? They like Austin Reeves. And the third reason they don't like the fan base is because they feel like they don't really need LeBron. And that's something else that really bothers his fan base. Because it's like, how dare you take a position that you guys don't need LeBron James? They don't like Laker. Trust me, they don't like him. They don't like the Laker fan base. They don't. They're there in spite of, they just there because LeBron is there. And the minute LeBron walks out the door, they're going to spit all over that franchise. After they've come there, absolutely destroyed the fabric of the Lakers, which is what they would have done, they would then pack their bags and go to the next franchise and destroy it as well. This is how these guys operate. Right? So they don't like the fan base. They can't stand the fan base. They can't stand them. They can't stand them, and they wish that they would just move on. They wish that they would just move on. I'm trying to find there was a stat, or rather, there was a graphic that showed what do you call it? LeBron's essentially record or his tenure as a Laker. And I can't find it right now, but it was essentially talking about like just the abject failure it has been since he's been there. Just been an abject failure. Yes, they won the Bubblicious championship that nobody cares about. You think the fan base was fond of LeBron bringing it, the Lakers drafting Bronny James? You think they were fond of that, honestly? This is how low the Lakers have fallen. That now they take consolation in the fact that LeBron drafted his son. That's what it's about. You guys went from winning championships to this. This is what it's about. This is what it's become. I'm just like, yo, look, if LeBron wants to leave, let him leave. Let him take Bronny with him. Go to whatever franchise. You heard Paul Pierce say, just go to any other franchise and go do his thing there. Like, enough is enough, man. Please, if you're not going to leave, let this just be the last season with the team. Just go somewhere else. I'm not saying he should retire. LeBron should retire whenever the hell he wants to retire. But just go to another team, please. It's enough. It's enough. You've done enough damage there. You've done enough damage. Just go somewhere else. I beg you. It looks like the dust is beginning to settle, right? And we're beginning to find out that all of those twerking ass JJ Redick supporters were full of it in the end. Just full of it. All right. And I can remember going back to last summer, matter of fact, when they were doing the Mind the Game podcast and people were just so enamored with JJ Redick. Oh my God, look at the way he thinks the game. And I'm sitting there looking at these people like, is this the first time you've heard anybody talk about basketball? Why are you guys so enamored by JJ Redick? Like, I'm lost here. But nevertheless, they were, just, oh my God, JJ seems so smart and he knows X's and O's. I'm like, yeah, theory. He knows the theory of it. In practice, there was no proof that he knew what he was doing or he knew what to do, right? It's like the guy that's really good in business in school, right? Really, really good. He can tell you everything about accounting, tell you everything about taxes, all of this different thing, but hasn't opened one business in his life, hasn't ran one business, nothing. But he sounds so, I'm like, yeah, and this is all theoretically, this sounds smart, but we have no results for this. But people were so enamored and bought into this thing of JJ so smart that after he took the job, we were hearing reports that they thought he was going to be the next coming of Pat Riley. Yes, Pat Riley. They were comparing JJ Redick to Pat Riley. They really thought they had Pat Riley. And the season started off, I think they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. The irony, they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, start off the season. They had a very good campaign. They won they finished the season as the 3 seed. But throughout the season, there were moments where JJ Redick seemed like he was absolutely out of control. He would be breaking clipboards. He would be throwing tantrums, just acting a damn fool. And you know what? People used to come out there and say, oh man, look at JJ Redick. He's so passionate. Oh, look at the passion. And I'm looking at these people like, this dude is having an emotional breakdown and you guys trying to call it passion, right? But it wasn't until we got to the playoffs and you saw JJ Redick storming out of press interviews, being defensive with the media. And then when he loses, all of a sudden, oh man, it looks like JJ got some issues. Like, yeah, this is what we've been trying to tell you. So what happened? Came across a clip yesterday from a Bomani Jones show, just randomly, and they were talking about who? The Lakers and JJ Redick. And Bomani Jones, as he was describing JJ Redick, he essentially said that JJ Redick doesn't have the emotional stability to coach the Lakers or any franchise in the NBA because he seems to be over his head emotionally. For those of you who didn't hear what Bomani had to say, I want to play his comments for you now, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Bomani Jones had to say there.
He is not built to be a coach in a sport that plays 82 regular season games and then has playoff series. He's simply wound too tight. He stormed out of the press conference before the game, right? And if you've seen the clip, to be fair to JJ, I recognize what happened here. Little Buddy wanted to ask, I don't even know how young to do this. Let me not call him Little Buddy, but Buddy wanted to ask JJ a question about game 4 and JJ playing those guys all the way through the fourth quarter and whether he was leaning on his assistants for about whether to take guys in and out of the game. And what the dude needed to say to ask the question was, JJ, when you make decisions about substitutions, how much do you lean on your assistants in those times? But instead, he was like, hey, so, you know, you got the assistants there. And he stammered through it, right? And it's taken so long to get to the question that it's giving JJ enough time to ask a reasonable question. Is this motherfucker trying to play me? Like, why is this taking so long, right? Like you know, like, why are you so nervous, right? I know how this goes. He's been here in different places, and he give JJ all the time in the world to be defensive, and then JJ comes with, are you asking that because I'm inexperienced? Is that what it is? Maybe. I don't know why that would, like, make it bad or whatever, but I don't even think JJ knew why he was mad other than, why is this taking so long? You must be trying to play me. But at the same time, JJ was on ESPN for that year or two, right? Mm-hmm. And what really got people charged up about him is that he was getting up there and he was sassing Stephen A. Smith. And he would get up there and he would sass Kendrick Perkins. People that many viewers would love to see get sassed by somebody, let alone this particular guy, right? Now, it's funny because this is a guy that we all, not all, but most of us got introduced to in a context that led to hating him. I actually liked him when he was in college, but most people, I mean, a plurality of the population, I would say, hated JJ Redick. But once he was up there sassing people like the ones I told you about, hey, it wasn't so bad. And then he goes on TV and he's talking to Chris Russo and he's breaking bad with him, which is another person, especially younger folks on the internet, have their issues with. And so JJ became their hero. And I remember somebody was writing a story about him, maybe it was from the New Yorker, and the woman who was writing it sounded like a younger woman. And she called me to talk about JJ. And I was listening to her and I was just kind of like, I don't think we've spelled out here. I don't really know if he's smashing atoms like you think he is, man. Like, I don't think he's doing anything that. And I say this as somebody who likes him as a TV personality, but his game is not being warm and cuddly and likable. His game is being a jerk. It's just a matter of whether or not it's the jerk that you like. Mm-hmm. That is not a persona that works well as the public face of an NBA franchise. That doesn't work. And so now you get up there and you get defensive and you storming out of stuff before games. And it's clear during the games, you're getting all wound up and you're a little bit too tight. And then you start breaking bad with the media. And media, that's elephants, boy. Their memories is long and they don't ever have to let up on you, especially not after you lose in the first round. What in this cycle changes? Yeah. Nothing in this cycle changes, right? So either he is going to figure out how to deal with people better, or he will not be long for this job, no matter how good he is at it. Because a big part of this job is not just about winning games. It's how you hold it down when you don't.
So you heard what he had to say. Where did he lie? Where did he lie? You know, the part that really annoyed me was the fact that people were giving JJ Redick a pass for his ridiculous behavior when he had done nothing to deserve a pass. Absolutely nothing. JJ had nothing on his resume. Absolutely, positively nothing. But people were giving him a pass. Why? Because he was LeBron's guy. And why were people on ESPN giving JJ Redick a pass? Why? Because he was a former colleague of theirs. So they didn't want to call him out, right? They were putting their friendship over their job and their duty. which is to call it like you see it. Why nobody at ESPN is on the level of a Charles Barkley. And I think it's going to be fireworks when Charles Barkley gets to ESPN and he's on a panel with one of them twerking ass ESPN analysts, and he just tells it like it is, and they're going to be looking shocked and scared. Oh my God, did he just say that he doesn't twerk? What's going on? Did anybody did anybody put a jar of honey in his dressing room? What's wrong? Right? What's wrong? JJ Redick is not qualified to be the Lakers coach. I'm even hearing reports, and I got to give credit where it's due. I first saw it on Ticket TV's channel where he said the Lakers should fire JJ Redick and hire Mike Malone. Then I woke up this morning and I saw Rob Parker saying the same thing. That if the Lakers are serious, they should fire JJ Redick and hire Mike. You honestly think the Lakers are going to fire JJ Redick? You honestly believe? Of course they're not going to fire him. And no, they will not hire Mike Malone. They will not hire Mike Malone. And if they did hire Mike Malone, they would go out there and find a problem with him. Oh, maybe he's too direct. Maybe he's too brash. Oh, maybe he's too harsh. They would find a reason to say Mike Malone wouldn't work. Think about this. The Lakers hired a podcaster as their head coach. A podcaster who thought he could talk his way into winning an NBA championship. Yes. JJ Redick thought that if I just talk X's and O's on TV, if I become a coach, it's going to be that easy. It's going to be that easy. Look at all of his other counterparts. Look at Ty Lue. Ty Lue has had to deal with major disappointment this season. Ty Lue goes in there and answers the questions and does his job and walks the hell out. JJ can't even do that. And he doesn't even have, JJ only has one playoff win. And I'm going to say this now because I think it's apropos and we need to say it now. Darvin Ham was a better coach than JJ Redick. The results prove so. Let's use metrics that you guys care about. That damn in-season tournament championship. He won it. You know, when you guys were popping bottles, pouring honey all over yourselves, you put up a banner up there, which was an embarrassment to the Lakers franchise. One of the reasons why I said LeBron must leave the Lakers. He is eroding what it means, eroding the public image of the Lakers. Then now they hang up in-season tournament banners. Just imagine. They went from hanging championship banners to in-season tournament banners. This is what the Lakers have become under LeBron's watch. All right? But nevertheless, he won that useless, pointless in-season tournament cup. Then he took the team to the Western Conference Finals. So how can we objectively say Darvin Ham is not a better coach than JJ Redick when his results show that he is? How? It seems like now, at the very least, based off of Darvin Ham's last season and JJ Redick's first season, it was a lateral coaching move. And the excuse they were making, oh man, if we just only didn't play Denver, if we could only not play Denver, we'd be all right. And then they went and lost to the Wolves. But Bomani Jones is saying JJ Redick doesn't have the emotional stability. I don't see it. He has no composure. He can't compose himself. He cannot compose himself. He can't. You need to be a little bit more calm. And all of that stuff about being cantankerous and being rude to the media, now they frying your ass. You know, the media, that you were talking, the new media, they frying your ass. They're frying your ass. Go for him. The channel. So we've been following this story pretty closely here and be giving you updates whenever news comes out. We're not the only ones. A lot of them, hell, almost everybody on the internet is talking sports, entertainment, is talking about this story. The last thoughts I gave on it was when I was reacting to some comments that Stephen A. Smith made, I think on Big Boy's show, where he was like, the fervor and all of this stuff that people are talking about Shannon Sharpe. He doesn't understand it. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, yo, did you see some of the videos of you talking about Diddy, whose trial begins on Monday? Did you see all of those videos? The fervor you were using. It's like, let's stop with the sanctum of like the self-righteous rhetoric and why are they doing this when you yourself did it? Because you get you a lot of views, get you a lot of traction, and probably because you wasn't close with Diddy, so you felt it was okay. Like, let's stop with all of the nonsense. But we had broken a story about an accuser that came forward by the name of Michelle Evans. We did a live about it and we reacted to it. So this morning I was combing through the internet and I came across an article that was highlighting an actual interview of hers where she was just describing the disturbing relationship her and Shannon Sharpe allegedly had. And the article headline says, "He was watching me. Shannon Sharpe's ex, Michelle Evans, was scared for her life after his threats for filing restraining order against him." In an exclusive interview with The Sun, Shannon Sharpe's ex spoke about the alleged attack, right? It says Shannon Sharpe's ex claimed she was scared for her life after the former NFL star allegedly argued her and then threatened her when she filed a restraining order against him. In an exclusive sit-down with The Sun, one of Sharpe's accusers, Michelle Bundy Evans, who's 53, recounts the allegations she made in a Bombshell sexual lawsuit suit against him. So what we want to do is we want to play what she had to say. It's a bit long, but we want to play all the important parts, and then we're going to come back and react to her comments. Take a listen to what the accuser had to say here.
It was the biggest argument that we ever got in. And he was controlling, he was domineering, he was manhandling me beforehand. We met in actually the press room at the Broncos, April of 2002. And, but we didn't start talking until we met up at a club at Blue 67 in Denver. I don't know if anyone is listening from Denver, but yeah, we were at a club at the same time. We didn't go together. We just happened to both be there. And so he started talking to me, and he started pursuing me pretty heavily from then on. I resisted for a while because, I was a reporter, and I didn't want to mix the two. But he's very charming. And we dated until the 2010 incident. And then it came to abrupt end because I wanted, we were arguing and he was threatening me and stuff like that after, but I didn't see him again after he raped me.
What led up to that fight, that 2010 fight that you guys, I know that the argument ensued first before he allegedly raped you?
The argument was about the fact that he had removed one girl from his house and put another girl in his house and didn't tell me. And he had asked me to break up with my husband at the time. We were just dating, so I was dating Shannon and my husband at the same time. Shannon asked me to break up with my husband, and I don't recall for sure, but I think I did. And so, it's like, wait a minute, you want me to be with just you, but you want to move somebody into your house and not even tell me? So that's what it stemmed from. He's not a faithful person, so I wasn't going to be faithful to a non-faithful person. It just doesn't work that way. Not for me anyway.
Can you tell us just broadly, I know it's probably painful to relive this situation, but can you tell us generally what happened that day?
It was fighting, and usually we fought on the phone and not in person. So it was the biggest argument that we ever got in. And he was controlling, he was domineering, he was manhandling me beforehand, and he wanted to have sex, and I told him no. I told him no, because you gave it to somebody else. I didn't only tell him no, I told him why. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. So he overpowered me, put me to my knees, put his penis in my mouth. And after he got enough of that, he put me on the bed. And, this was all a struggle. So I had said no. And I said no, even though I was thinking that. And so it was the hardest. Yeah, this is too hard. I remember he got dressed and he knew what he did. And so, I just kind of escorted him out the door. And And then I wasn't going to do anything about it. Sometimes when you're with the person for a long time, it's hard for you to realize that they're being the perpetrator, even though you know it, you don't want to admit it, and there's so much going through your mind. But then he started coming at me. If I tell anybody, he'll use everybody he knows to destroy me, which he basically has. And then he started making other threats against my life, threats. He just was so worried that it would get out, and I wasn't going to do anything. But when he kept calling me at work, and when he kept, just very aggressively behaving, and I could see it wasn't going to go away, and he said he was going to destroy me and he was going to kill me, and he told me he was watching me, and all that. I just went and got a protective order. I'd had enough. And unfortunately, shortly after, he doxed me and my address got out, and I had somebody stop by my apartment, which had a door that led right to the side. It was basically on the sidewalk. And somebody came up to my door and said, "Shut up," and screamed it at the top of their lungs. And I had my daughter in there right there. And I was like, oh, no. And so I went and I dropped it, because also at my house, not my apartment, my house, at my house, somebody came to my house and sat out front in the driveway while my daughter was there alone. Someone came to my house, someone came to my apartment, and after my daughter called me, that's when I went straight there.
So after you rescinded the restraining order, was there any other weird stuff, or did it kind of just die down?
It died down. I tried to move on with my life. We may have talked, I think, once or twice. But then he started going on television. He came to my job, Turner Broadcasting, went on TV at CNN, and it was my job to put the videos from up to YouTube for CNN. That was part of my job. So I'm putting up this video, and here I see Shannon at my job talking about domestic violence, and the co-host mentioned that, oh, you had one that was just totally dropped, made it look like the police dropped it, not that I had gone down and withdrawn it. It created a picture that wasn't accurate. And that was a very hostile work environment.
I'm going to ask something that might be a little sensitive or might sound insensitive, I should say. But I'm going to go ahead and ask it because it's a question that I'm sure people are wondering. Why didn't you file a police report when he raped you? Because
I was scared for my life. He said he would use it, everybody he knows, and he knows lots of police officers. So I didn't know that if I went down there, that would be one of the people that he knows. Atlanta has a problem with corruption down there. And I was too scared to go to the police. Because when this happens, you're in a trauma mindset. You're not in a, every day you and I are talking here like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should do that. No, you're like fear for your life. You're traumatized. You're not thinking straight. You're having anxiety and panic attacks. And I was worried that he would, get a hold of this police officer, and who knows what would happen. And so it was just a decision, and it's a decision a lot of rape victims make, to not go to the police. They always say the woman is crazy. Hey, I might be at this point after everything I've dealt with. But back then, no. Definitely not crazy. And to see him paint me the way that he did, first off, I'm not somebody crawling out of the woodwork to talk about my connection with him like he insinuated in his statement. I've been out. I've been suing him.
What's your message to his latest accuser, who's been doxing? What would you say to her if you can send a message to her?
I pray for you. I have been there. I've been dealing with this for 15 years, so I know what you're going through. So
you heard what she had to say. What are my thoughts about this? First of all, I don't know the lawyer representing her. I was first off, it was Tony Busby's firm, but I don't know who it is. I know Tony Busby's essentially representing the principal accuser, the girl that's asking him for $50 million. I don't know who's representing this lady here, Michelle. So there's that. At first I was like, okay, maybe there's a connection. No, I don't know who's representing her. Maybe later on we'll find that out. But what are my thoughts on this? Look, this is par for the course. Okay, this isn't the first time this has happened. I earlier alluded to the Diddy case where one shoe dropped, which was the Cassie video and all of that. And then all of a sudden it was just like an absolute avalanche. You know, this accuser, that accuser, this accuser, that accuser, this accuser, that accuser, this accuser, that accuser. Like, whoa, where all these people come from? Standard practice, man. Right now, some of those accusers, for instance, that were accusing Diddy were flat out lying, and they were proven to be liars. Where some of them, it seems to be some truth, allegedly. I don't know. They're going to solve this issue in court ultimately. In the case of Shannon Sharpe, this doesn't look good, because I think that what these lawsuits are showing is some type of pattern of behavior, right? Hell, that's what that's the picture that she's trying to paint. Now, Shannon has made it clear that, you know, this is a shakedown and his legal team is going to fight this case fervorously, but they hadn't mentioned anything about her. In this particular issue here, they were talking more about the first case where they were essentially saying that, you know, they wanted $50 million from him. Since then, we haven't seen Shannon Sharpe on ESPN. Stephen A. Smith recently put out some comments saying that he's hopeful that Shannon Sharpe will return before the start of the NFL season. And in order for that to happen, a lot of lawsuits need to be settled. And there's a lot of money on the table here, right? There's a lot of money on the table here. But in terms of the people trying to throw a pity party, oh, man, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to railroad a black man and all that stuff? Like, man, please. Like, just please. All the people that were going at Diddy, most of them, a good amount of them were black dudes. They didn't care about no black man and all of this stuff. And they didn't know anything that they didn't. This all alleged. Were you there? Do you know what happened? No, of course they didn't know. Right? Of course they didn't know. All they know is that they saw that video and they came to a conclusion. Public perception is Diddy right now is already under the jail. Right? People have already concluded that Diddy is guilty. Right? Because they don't like him. Right? But in the case of Shannon, he's more likable, more charismatic. So therefore, people are like, no, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. My position is I'm going to cover it anyway. I'm going to cover the story like we would cover any other story. I'm not making any omissions here because you feel a type of way about it. Oh, don't talk about it. My feelings, they don't click on the video. Don't click on the video, right? And we're going to be talking about that Diddy case again on Monday from our other channel. If you haven't subscribed to it, it's called Charles Tabansi Here's What I Think. If you want to hear my thoughts as we follow that case very closely, go subscribe to that channel. Matter of fact, we're going to pin it in the comment section below so you guys can subscribe to it if you want to, you know, be updated on that case. But look, this is what this lady's saying. Obviously, this is her side. We don't know what Shannon Sharpe is going to say or has said. But our job here is just to give you guys the update. So